Hey everyone, it's Roxy from the Roxy Horror Casey show. I am here and I'm getting ready to do my review on the Night of the Living Dead 1990 remake. I wanted to start with a disclaimer that there are going to be spoilers in this review, so if you have not seen the remake, please do not watch this video. All right, moving on. Or watch the movie first and then come back and then listen to me talk about it. But anyway, we're gonna move on. First, I wanted to begin my review with a comparison to the original. Basically, this film was, I don't know if this is a hot take, but this was an upgrade to the original. The original felt like I can see where the story came from, and I understand that it is a classic. And I 100% think that it was a wonderful movie for its time. But in today's society, it just doesn't really translate. So the comparisons to me were, it was just better on a grand scale. Barbara, who we all know is, in the original, is a very dislikable character. She's just unbearable, and she's not very, what's the word, she's just kind of there. She like goes into a trance and stuff like that. But anyway, in the remake, she's infinitely more tolerable than in the original. And not only that, but she is kind of a badass. I mean, they still have that, she still has that compassionate nature, and like when she's wrapping up the dead uncle's body on the floor in the rug, just to, give him a proper burial. She still has that human nature, that, compassion. But she is a total badass. And at the end, boy, like, it just, she kind of finds her person, and she becomes friends with Ben, who is played by Tony Todd, which is something that I'll get into later. But I just think that it was much more of a tolerable situation than me just watching Barbara complain or cry or just sit there awestruck for an hour, and me wishing that she would just be thrown to the zombies. I loved how Barbara finds the house in this movie. She comes upon it, she enters the house, but she, instead of like seeing everyone dead and like torn apart, she has to kill zombies, which is so cool. And I really appreciated that kind of like upgrade in the remake. I think the characters just in general had more depth to them. Some of them you could see like a declining mental state. Some of them you could see them get stronger, like Barbara. Others, it was just very well put together in a way that you're rooting for some people, and others, you're just kind of like, you're expendable. although most of the characters in general had more depth, the ones that didn't, I don't know, I just feel like Judy was one of those characters that was kind of forgotten, even though she did, she ended up being, she is a strong woman. I just think her character wasn't as well developed. But anyway, I think they could have gone a lot more down the rabbit hole of changing things. They did what they could, but I think they were scared to change the narrative too much. Even though they did change it a lot, I feel like there were still some things that they could have done. And also, I really appreciated the changing of the technology. So like going from them listening to radio to listening to the television. So it just kind of like gave more of a, you know, sign of the times, like, hey, we're watching TV now, we're not listening to the radio. So instead of giving that classic vibe, you're in today's time. Which I appreciated. I think that was a good move on their part, especially, you know, it was 1990 when the movie was out, so I think they needed to do that upgrade to make the movie flow in the society of that day. I'm gonna go into the things that I liked about the movie. Obviously, I already talked about it. Loved Barbara's personality change. I just loved the way that she went from, you know, being teased by her brother for being scared of everything to like killing off Harry at the end of the movie. And he wasn't even dead. She was just like, I don't like you and I'm a rebel now and you don't deserve to be alive. And she killed him. And I really appreciated that. I think her character really needed to go through those stages to really show what happens in some people's heads when a crisis like this happens in the real world. I mean, obviously this is a dream world, but you know. So it gave her definitely some development, and it just, you know, she goes from being this person that's being made fun of to being this incredible badass that's just, you know, doing what she thinks is right, and she's standing up for herself. Where in the first movie, she definitely did not. But I love the ending change. I loved, as I was saying, like, I think it was great for her to accept her rebellious nature and then go back to all of these, you know, I mean, I guess hillbilly is the word to say, because they were just like, I mean, they're all rebels, but, you know, they all have their shotguns and they're just having fun. They're making a game out of it, of killing these zombies, and I think she like embraced that, and at the end she's smiling and she's like, I'm ready to go. Like, I appreciated that so much more than the first ending, the ending of the original, and I think that goes into more of the, you know, at the change of the times. Like, I think these characters needed more development, and she basically got the best out of all of them. Love Tony Todd. I appreciated that he was starring in this movie, and he did such a good job with Ben. So that's really all that I can say there. And Ben's decline was interesting, like his decline into from being put together and sane into, you know, attacking other people in the house. And essentially going crazy down the basement at the end. I feel like his decline into insanity was a interesting step in the movie. And yeah, I definitely appreciate his character. I loved what he did with what Tony Todd did with the role. So yeah, some of the zombie effects were great. Some of them were a little, they probably could have done more, but also it was 1990, so they did with what they had, and it was practical. Everything was practical, which I obviously enjoy. Old school effects are the best effects. I want to see someone get torn apart, like, with practical effects. The CGI just makes it look too artificial. And another thing I loved about the film was the strong woman aspect. I loved that all the women were so strong in the house. Like, yes, the men were the muscle, but the women were the people that brought the house together. Like, you know, when they were boarding up the house and everything like that, like, the men would put the doors up and hold them to keep the zombies out, but the women were there hammering those nails in for hours. Like, could you imagine that, the effort that takes to go through an entire night of just boarding up a damn house? Like, it's absolutely wild. So that, also, the wife, Harry's wife, really giving it to him in the basement. Like, that was awesome. And really just, I feel like Harry needed that person to basically tell him, hey, what you're doing is not right, and really lay into him why he's being unreasonable. So her character was great, although she did, unfortunately, and there are some holes in this, the way that she died, I can understand why she would feel the way that she felt, and why she wouldn't go after her daughter, you know. But yeah, and then Judy was the most expendable of all of them. However, she even had the strong side. Like, even when she was screaming her head off when the zombies were coming in, but that was also, you know, that's a normal reaction to, you know, if monsters are coming after you. But she stepped up and she helped Barbara nail whatever wood they could into the doors and windows. So I feel like that, and then also she volunteered to go out of the house into the truck and drive the truck, start it, drive it, everything. She knew everything that she had to do with that truck. And honestly, like, her death was caused by one of the men in the house that wasn't really thinking about what he was doing. So, I mean, I think that the strong woman aspect is definitely alive in this film. Barbara just comes out swinging. She's a badass. So yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect of this movie. Now I'm gonna go into my dislikes. I thought the beginning of the movie was too long, when they're driving up to the cemetery, and it's just him, basically, Barbara's dealing with her brother, saying the same thing over and over again, all the way up the hill. Like, I would have slapped that dude. Like, shut up, you're saying the same thing over and over again, and I'm done. So it was just annoying to listen to him tease her all the way up the hill for, like, I mean, the entire credits. basically the entire beginning credits. It was just too long. It was too much. You could have easily put in them driving without any sound or whatever, some music. I don't know. It was too much. And another thing on the long scenes, when Harry was in the basement and bitching about Ben being upstairs and how stupid everybody was for being upstairs. I mean, he bitched for like 5 minutes. I was like, okay, we get it. Like, move the fuck on from the scene. We don't need to listen to him yell about how stupid people are upstairs for 5 fucking minutes. Like, move the fuck on. I get what they were trying to go for to make Harry intolerable, which honestly he sold it. But I think he sold it too well. He needed to tone that down just a little bit. You can cut off 3 minutes of movie time to cut out some of that fat. So that was just one of the things, and that kind of goes into the racism in the film. Like, it's not really said, or maybe it is kind of said, but it's definitely implied. The reason why the Ben and Harry hate each other, and I just didn't really appreciate that. Like, I get that Harry is intolerable and everything like that, and I don't know. It didn't really work for me. But, and that kind of goes into the whole, the other thing that I don't really like about the film is that Ben dies and becomes a zombie and Harry does not. And it's like, of course the fucking white man wins. Like, you know, and poor Harry, like, I understand the plot and where, you know, Ben is descending into madness because of all of this, and that's the basically the development of his character, is that yes, he's going to descend into madness, but does that really need to come with a character that everyone dislikes surviving that? And also, if these zombies are inside the house causing Ben to become one, why are they not going after Harry? Why would they not go up into the attic and get him too? So some of these holes, they just don't make sense, and I really think that was like kind of a shitty thing to do. But I also understand why Harry survived in some circumstance. I get that Barbara, that goes into Barbara's character development, right? Because at the end she's like, fuck you, and she shoots him, and I get it. I totally understand. But I also think that all of that coming together with the racism and, you know, Harry just being a total dick, that's one of the things where I wish they could have brought it together a little differently. The last thing that I couldn't really get down with was that the zombies seem to have feelings. Like, they were scared of the guns. Like, whenever Barbara would walk around and point a gun at them, they would, like, back up or, like, freeze. And I don't know if that's because of, like, something that they're remembering from before or something along those lines, but zombies are not supposed to have brains. They're supposed to eat other people's brains to stay alive. So they're just supposed to be like walking corpses, essentially. They're not supposed to really have brain matter, but so the fact that they're afraid of guns just kind of was a little weird to me. And also Ben recognizing Barbara at the end of the movie when he comes up from the stairs and is zombified. Um, I think that that was meant for more like emotional um, hurt than anything else, but it just didn't work for me. I was like, okay, he's a zombie. He's not supposed to remember who she is. Especially after, you know, a few hours. Like, half of these zombies didn't know what was going on, and they died. One of them died, you know, recently. So, I mean, it was just one of those things that um, it didn't really that was a hole for me. It didn't really sit well. But overall, I did like this movie. I gave it an overall score of 3.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed the upgrade in plot and character development. I just, it was something, it was an enjoyable movie. So yeah, that's my review. Stay tuned for more. The next one I'm going to be doing is the Dawn of the Dead remake. So come back on the 4th to see what I have to say about that. And stay spooky.